Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. It's Wizbit's Random Gaming and it's Wizbit's Random Topics on Thursday. So today's topic is everyone's favourite video game, physical media franchise, CEX. Now for those of you that don't live in the UK and you might come across this video, CEX is basically an electronics pawn shop, shall we say. I know they don't like to be called as such, but I do see them as such. You can trade things in for credit or you can trade things in for cash. They are essentially a pawn shop, but they only take certain items. They have a list of stuff they will take and they don't deviate away from that because of the way the franchise operates. CEX, it's got a number of flaws, definitely. But there's a lot of positives about the franchise and the shop and us having CEX itself as well. It's not all about negative experiences. Now, ever since people started doing content on YouTube regarding CEX, and it's become a lot more heavily focused, and myself included, a lot of my videos are CEX related. And that's down to the fact that they're almost like the standalone shop that you can go to in your high street now and buy physical media from. You can go to your HMVs now, still get your DVDs, your Blu-rays and your stuff like that, but a lot of the times you'll probably find them quite overpriced. You'll still find your independent video game shops out there as well, and you know, God bless them, we need them shops regardless of what anyone says. We need to have independent shops, doesn't matter. But what I want to talk about today is I've started seeing a lot more, I don't know, I think it goes in cycles. I think CEX content, yeah, it probably does get a few more clicks than other stuff. Is that the reason I do it? No, some people will say otherwise. I just like to go around to various CEX shops around the UK and try to show people what's in stock in a particular shop if they want to go and check that shop out. It is what it is. Some people say lazy content. Well, yeah, but you know, the people that are saying that, they're hardly producing Martin Scorsese masterpiece themselves, so you know, it is what it is. But there's a lot more negative content flying around at the moment. Some of it rightly so. You know, CEX has got a lot of flaws, and a lot of people I know say to me, I don't know why you bother with CEX. Why don't you just shop at independents? Why don't you stick to eBay? And that got me thinking. The independents and CEX. Why can't we use both? Why can't you use that to your advantage as a consumer? I most certainly do. I shop at independents. I go to video game fairs, markets. I'll buy from resellers, but at the same time I've got to look out for myself as a collector, as a purchaser, as a consumer. So if I see something in CEX, for example, and it's like 5 times cheaper and it's in good condition, yeah, okay, I understand buying something from an independent shop. You know, you're supporting the independent shop, yeah, that's great. But I've also got to support myself. And I don't mind supporting the independent shop, but not to the extreme. I'll give you an example. A game that is never in stock in CEX, and one that I'm probably going to have to purchase at some point because I'm going for the active full Wii U set. And that is the Cabela's hunting games. There's a Wii U version of that. Now, to buy that on eBay, on Vinted, anything like that, you're probably going to be looking at around about £60 to £80. It could be more, all dependent on the variant that you're looking for. Now, granted, CEX have never got that game in stock, but if they manage to get one in stock, it's going to go for £15. So I'm going to wait till near the end of my run with the Wii U, and hopefully, someone's going to trade a copy of that in. And if an independent shop gets one in the meantime and is selling it at £80, I can't support that. I'd rather wait until the right time. So yeah, I love supporting the indie shops, but they've got to support us as well, and most of them do. Don't get me wrong, there's some really great independent shops locally to me and further out in the UK, some that I need to spend more time in, most definitely. I'm looking at Scott, Sega Zombie. I want to get down to him and the retro realm soon. I recently watched his video on his latest shop tour. It looks like an Aladdin's cave in there, and I need to go down there. I'd like to meet Scott, seems a great guy, and I really want to buy a couple of bits and support at the same time. I'm all for supporting independence, as I've said many times. But yeah, you've got to look after yourself. Not everyone is caked with money, so I do need to buy stuff for myself as well and make sure that it's, you know, justifiable. So what are the pros and the cons of shopping at CEX? Now, the cons of CEX. Now, there's a few, and I think the bugbear for me is that reprinted cover. I've done videos on this, but when they get a reprint of a cover or whatever it is, you've got the top left hand corner and it's got that cover reprint in there. Now, I get it. I've done a video on this a while back. Maybe scroll through my content and see my more in detail view on that one. But I know it started a long while ago when they was doing it and putting their cover reprint inside the covers, and then a big campaign kicked off. Regardless, that is what CEX ended up doing as the alternative. Top left hand corner, cover reprinted. Now I get it, it's okay, but some of these more expensive games, I'm not going to pay that, and I don't know one collector that's going to pick up, let's say for example, Zumba on the Wii U. Who's going to pick up Godzilla on the PlayStation 4 cover reprint at around about £200? If you know someone that is happy to do that, then you know what, fair play to them. Personally, I've never come across anyone, and I don't think I will. There needs to be an alternative for that. I mean, yeah, FIFAs and all that, people buy them sort of games just to, you know, spend a bit of time. People will be like, oh, I haven't played FIFA for a while, let's go and buy a copy and a cheap 360 or something and go back home and just chill out, have a night in and play some FIFA. No one cares about the cover reprint variant on occasions like that. If you've got collectors that want to display their stuff, like 99% of people that do spend that sort of money on video games, they're not going to buy that variant. If you've bought that variant on a game that's over £50, let me know in the comments below, and please justify it and let me know why you thought it was okay to do so. I'm not going to argue with you. It's your money, you can do what you want, but I'd just like to know your reason behind it and why you was okay with it. So that is one of the cons of shopping at CEX. It's terrible. It's not the solution that I'm personally happy with. There are ways around this. I've mentioned it in other videos. I don't know. I'm no marketing guru, so but I think I've got a better solution than that. The next thing is the postage. Now, the postage recently went up to, I think it's £2.99 per item now. And this is one of the annoying things there. If you're buying a game that's like £5, £2, £3, there are games out there in that price range that don't come into stock too often. There really is. And occasionally you might see it and go, oh my God, they've got a copy of this in on the PS3. Oh, it's in Leeds. Yeah, I'm in London. Or vice versa. And now you've got to pay, £3 for it to be delivered. That £3 game or whatever now becomes a £6 game. You see where I'm going with this. A lot of the time, it definitely stops custom. I know people that will say, I'm not buying that, I'll just wait until I see it in the shop rather than have to spend and double my money on that. We're weird like that, collectors. It's only £3, yeah, and we'll probably go and use that £3 to buy, a kebab on the way home or a McDonald's or something like that. But when it comes to spending it on the postage and doubling the price of the game you originally wanted, we're not going to do it. We're an odd breed. What can I say? So the postage is a bad one. The cover reprint is a bad one. Now, the next one I'll say is staff. Every CEX is different, and every CEX I've been to, and I've been to a lot in the UK now, and I plan on going to a lot more in the UK moving forward. It's a different experience every time you go in there. Some are really good, some are brilliant, some not so much. You'll come out of there with a bit of a feeling like, I'm not sure I want to go back to that shop. Now, I'm not going to blame the franchise on this one in any way, shape or form, or the company itself. I don't know what people get paid to work in CEX. I know people that work in the shops. I've never asked anyone what they earn, and the reason being is that I was brought up, my father told me, don't ever ask anyone what they earn or what party they vote for. Respect. And I've kind of stuck to that mantra ever since, and I don't ask anyone what they earn. But I'm going to guess it's not great money in CEX. Retail doesn't tend to be great money. That's just the nature of retail. So I'm just going to assume that it's not great. And the training in there, you've got young people, students that are just trying to get by in a lot of cases, with a keen interest in a lot of media, video games and stuff. And a lot of them are out there, they probably haven't had the right training to have a look at certain items, especially the older variants of consoles and video games and stuff like that. So I'm not going to blame anyone on this front. I think that's just part of the service you're going to get in any kind of retail shop that has multiple franchises. You do go to some, and I've been to CEX branches where you come out of there and it feels like almost like an independent shop, the way you've been treated, the way you've been spoken to, and the way you can relate to staff. And yeah, I'll give you an example. Woolwich CEX is one that I go not too often, but it's fairly local, and I love the shop. For me, it's the best one in London, and has been for some time. But the conversations that I've had with staff in there as I'm purchasing stuff, as I'm talking about potentially purchasing stuff, have always been pretty detailed, very friendly, you know, talking about their own preference for video games, what they think of my preferences for video games. It's not always a good conversation when they see some of the stuff that I'm buying. So yeah, I'm not going to say that's a pro or a con. It's really going to depend on where you live and if you frequent different branches too often. But I hear a lot of people moan about the staff in there. I think you've got to cut the staff a bit slack. It's not a high paying job. Yes, could some do better? Yeah. But at the same time, you know, that's the industry. Some people will do the minimum, and do I blame them? No, not really, because if they left tomorrow, no one would care if they'd done the most brilliant job in the world or the worst job in the world. They would just be replaced. So it all depends on the person's ethos, their working ethos, I guess. So I'm not going to put that down to a pro or a con to staff. I see a lot of negative comments. Definitely on the negative side of things, a lot more. But yeah, I'm just going to put that one in the middle. I don't think that's either. It's all going to be very dependent on where you go as a shopper. Pros. What pros have we got about CEX? Convenience. Now, most high streets have got a CEX in them. Okay, not that many high streets have got independent shops in them. There's a reason for that. You'll find that most independent shops do tend to be in the more rundown areas, and that's fine. I'm from a rundown area originally anyway. It's not like I'm putting it down. It is what it is. But that's probably because they've got less rent to pay, less overheads, and yeah, they've got to make as much money as they can. The franchises, the CEXs, I'm guessing that's a completely different ball game. You know, their stock is pretty much free from day one. And the footfall of traffic that go into the CEX from a high street is going to be significantly different to an independent that's on a local street corner. Further on down the other end of the high street, that part of the high street, you know, the bit where no one goes unless they need to buy something specific. That's where you'll find your indies, 9 times out of 10 from my experience. So yeah, convenience is there. Also the postage element. Again, I've moaned about the postage cost. The cost is $2.99 now, and the per item thing is scandalous. Yeah, you could be buying like 5 to 6 items and all of a sudden it's £2.99 per item. There's a couple of little life hacks, if that's what you want to call them, on how to get same items from one store. You look for a certain DVD, if it's in stock in that branch, all of that as well, and you'll get all your items, or a particular item. I've never tried it, so I can't say if that is a guaranteed winner or not. That for me is a big negative. If I want to buy 4 or 5 games in one go, the postage cost is ridiculous. I didn't realise this until I'd first ever done a CEX online order, probably around about 2009, and I had just got back into buying wrestling DVDs, which I've previously sold back to CEX for some fantastic credit. And I was buying like loads of TNA ones at the time, which were pretty difficult to get hold of, and they were selling them really cheap. I think a lot of people bought them from play.com when that was a thing, and traded them into CEX, got rubbish money for them, and CEX charged rubbish money for them, and I built up a little collection like that. And I didn't look initially, I just thought that £1.99 at the time, I thought the $1.99 cost was going to be the postage. It's only about a week later when the games came and I saw my invoice that I noticed I'd paid $1.99 per item. That's never changed. I don't know how they can get around that, because I know different items are going to be sourced from different shops. But it's a frustrating way of ordering stuff. And it's why personally I will order from CEX, but only with single items these days. Another negative, we could look at some of the state of the items that get sent out and taken in. Again, when stuff gets taken in, it's not in great condition. I'm going to put a lot of that down to the training aspect. It's probably not there. And also the fact that a lot of people maybe just don't care when they take the items in as much maybe as they should, when they consider that these items are potentially going to be sold on, and someone is going to open that box in a delivery and potentially be quite disappointed when said item is opened and examined. But yeah, that's a problem. I've seen a few videos lately where some terrible consoles and video games in particular have been sent out, and me personally, I will never buy a console from CEX unless I'm in store. I've seen far too many horror stories, and I can't be bothered with the whole palaver of having to go back and take it. I'd rather see it in the flesh, know what it looks like. If I go home and it doesn't work, yeah, okay, I'm forced to take it back. But I don't want to have to open a box. I don't want to have a look at it and know straight away and think to myself, I wouldn't have packaged that. So, and you know, you're going to be disappointed. Consoles is the big one, and then also you've got the older video games. Not so much your disc-based stuff, because a lot of that will come in your generic type cases, your plastic cases. The only thing you're going to be worrying about there is manuals. And a lot of games from the 360, PS3 era onwards, they came without manuals. So, I don't know, sometimes it's quite actually difficult to know if you've actually got what you wanted in the first place. You're going to have to do a bit of research on that before you potentially buy that game. There's plenty of groups out there you can talk to, collectors, and might have a similar game. They might be able to give you a heads up, let you know what they think. But the cardboard stuff. So if you're buying Super Nintendo, if you're buying even Mega Drive, which isn't cardboard, it's plastic, but you've got them tabs at the top, you know? and the manuals, a lot of manual stuff is never available in CEX. It really isn't. Okay, they've started to change that now, and they'll tell you if a game's got a manual in it with a lot of the stuff they stock now. But I don't really think that that's done to help me and help you. I think that's done so they can add an extra couple of pound onto the items that was already in stock. The cardboard stuff is a real risk, and I'm probably quite fortunate that I don't collect anything that is cardboard based at this stage. No Nintendo, no Super Nintendo, no Game Boy, anything like that. I don't really collect that kind of stuff. But it's not because I don't want to, it's because I just don't have the room. And I'm quite thankful sometimes that I don't, because yeah, if I was buying stuff from far branches and ordering it, I would be absolutely dreading seeing what comes through that post. You know, I've seen some absolutely shocking stuff in cardboard format when I'm in CEX. I'm sure anyone that's watching this video has been to CEX, and if you're a collector, you would have been there. You would have seen some of the stuff that's taken in. Yeah, quite shocking, to be quite honest with you. Another con is I find a lot of branches, not all, but a lot of branches will find any possible way to degrade your item so that they can give you a lesser price for credit or cash, whatever your choice is. And you will notice that it will probably get sold. You'll probably never know, especially if they've got this particular item in abundance. You won't know. If it's a single item and it's quite a rare one, you'll look and you'll know if they're selling it at top rank. If they've got these items in abundance, it's just going to get mixed in amongst the rest of their stock. You'll never know. Some shops in particular that I've been to, they seem to get a kick out of telling you your item's failed or we're going to charge you less. Strange. I don't know. Maybe their day was boring, but they seem to get a kick out of it. It is what it is. You just live and learn, and you just make sure you don't take the items to that particular branch anymore. It's just not worth the headache or the hassle, or even the embarrassment or the potential argument. It just isn't what it is. So there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons with CEX, but I'm thankful for them. I think personally, as much as I love an independent shop, the independent shops have got their pros and cons as well. One of the pros of the indies, they seem to take in a lot better quality items. Now, I don't know whether or not that's the fact that collectors take them direct to the independent shops, or whether the fact that they take the time to clean an item up before it gets put out on any kind of shelf. I'm going to say it's a bit of both. CEX, they do not clean anything up. Maybe they would, the staff there would ask for more money if they had to do that. So maybe that's part of why they don't do it. I don't know. But when you buy a game from CEX, you could be buying a game that's got a Sunny Delight stain from 2004 on it, and it's still there, just, you know, screaming out at you. Take me back to the 90s or whatever. I don't know, but there's some real crud on a lot of the stuff in CEX. You don't find that in the independent shops. Clean items. I think they take a lot more pride in what they do in that sense, because the independent shop is obviously the person's own shop. There's personal pride there. It's not the case when you've got a member of staff there. There was a game just the other day. I messaged a couple of people on a Discord that I'm on the Xbox 360. I was interested in Deadly Premonition, and a couple of people got back to me. They gave me mixed reviews on the game. I'm still interested in buying that game on the 360 because I've been told that it runs really well on the Series X. But what put me off wasn't the price. I think it's quite reasonably priced at £18. It's gone down. But it's the fact that there was so much gunk and junk on it. It was, it was almost vomit inducing, to be quite honest with you. From afar it looked okay. I picked it up, had a look around, but some of the gunk that's stuck inside that sleeve, no. I'll wait for another copy to come up. I'm not that desperate for a game. That needs to improve. Now again, there's a pro for the independents. The indies will take that good stuff in. I'll give you a couple of examples of two shops that I've been to in recent months. Retro Giant, that's got two shops in Romford and Brentwood. Everything in there is clean as a whistle. It's lovely. Ali from the Retro Hunter in Leon C. I went to see him at the back end of last year, 2 days after Christmas, in fact, with a bunch of friends. There is a video somewhere in my content below, have a look. Great shop, by the way. But one of the things that I noticed is Ali spends his time selling video games and retro stuff. It's not just video games, he's got a whole variety of toys and stuff like that. And the quality of the toys, I was amazed. I was thinking to myself, like, and I actually should ask him. I need to go down there again and talk a little bit more in depth to Ali. The quality, does he clean them up himself, or is he just quite picky about what he brings in? Something I need to find out actually. The toys that he had in there, I was amazed at the quality of the stuff. You know, there's definitely must be a case of he's quite picky, but also at the same time, like I said, there's personal pride because it's his own shop. He's only going to put certain stuff out. So that is a real pro. You're going to get higher quality items and more than likely a better customer service from shopping in an independent shop, 100%. The other pro is by spending your money with them. Yes, we've touched on it very lightly. You will be supporting independent shops, keeping that shop open, small businesses. They need me, they need you in order to stay open. So it's important that we do touch base with them every now and then. I do on a regular basis, but like I said, I'm not out for anyone else other than my own personal benefit when I'm shopping. In the back of my mind, I want to support, but first and foremost, when I'm out, I'm looking after number one. So again, if I see something, we'll go back to Cabela's on the Wii U. If I see that coming to stock here for £15, but my local shop has got it for 40, where do you think I'm going to go and buy it? I'm not going to support the independent shop on that one, because what the independent shop is doing there, they're taking slight advantage of the fact that CEX has never really got this particular title in stock. And they know this, so what they'll do is they'll up the price. But don't give up. I recently got one Wii U game, Telselgrad, probably butchered the name of that. I've had many a conversation with friends about how that is never in stock, and if I see it in an independent shop, snap it up as soon as you can. But I waited, I played the waiting game and I picked it up. It did come in stock. I'm quite lucky I was the one to get it, but it is what it is, and I'm hoping that can be the same with stuff like Cabela's Hunt on the Wii U. So I don't really want to be paying £70 for that game if I don't have to. Now, I'm not sure if this is a pro or a con. I'm gonna say it's a pro. I think CEX definitely regulate the pricing market in the UK. They influence it very, very highly. Now, if you didn't have CEXs across the country putting their own prices, now don't get me wrong, some of the prices are absolutely terrible and you just think, really? But a lot of them are quite fair if people are going to be objective about this. I think if they didn't have their guidelines I think it would be a little bit like the Wild Wild West out there with independents. You know, they will charge you what they see fit. CEX, to an extent, do keep your independents, and not all of them are liberty takers, but there's got to be one or two out there that are. They'll keep the prices real. They'll keep the independent shops maybe in check a little bit, to the point that you as a consumer are not going to have to go in and spend ridiculous amounts of money on games, because an independent shop tells you it's rare and that in order to have this game you're going to need to pay X amount. So I'm kind of thankful in a lot of ways for CEXs and their price regulations. Again, their pricing isn't perfect, some of it is weird, but that's another video for another day. You see a lot of people moaning about the price that CEX give you for items. The one word I always hear is thieving this, robbing this. No, they've made you an offer. It's a set offer, and it's laid out on their website, on their app. It tells you how much you can potentially get if the item is in the right condition. No one's putting a gun to your head and saying, this is it, you have to sell it. If you're unhappy with that price, take your item home. If you're unhappy with that price, take it to an independent shop. Chances are they might not take the item because they've got so many in stock already. That's the luxury with CEX. 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to take your item even if they've got multiple of that particular item. No one's forcing you to do it, you know. If you really don't like CEX, and this is a quote from my good friend Adam over at PS2 Minigames. Stop using them. It is what it is, you know. Just stop using CEX if you don't like them. Now, fair play, there is some people out there that I know, collectors, that don't use CEX, you know. But it's not because they don't really like the way CEX do things. The 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5 people that I know, that I talk to on a regular basis, that say I just don't use CEX. It's because they just prefer the eBay way. They prefer the independent way, and the charity shop way, in a lot of times as well. And you know, there's a good community out there. A lot of good people within the community. They all talk to one another. They all sell and swap to one another. So that's how a lot of people amass their collections. You know, we all trade amongst each other. And they don't have to use CEX. Not very often, anyway. There's a lot of people that complain about having to use CEX. You don't have to. You really don't. It's there. Take advantage of it while you can, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is I've got a weird theory that I think CEX, they're probably only going to be selling video games, I don't know, maybe what, another 10, 15 years max? Because at some point, physical media is going to stop production everywhere at some point. The next generation of video games, whatever console you've got, PS6, Xbox 125 million degrees, whatever they want to call their new thing, the Switch 3. I'm not going to say the 2 because that's confirmed to have digital media. If they go over Switch 3, Nintendo might be the last bastion of physical media. Who knows when they'll stop? But it's going to stop. It is. That's a given. And then at some point, CEX are going to slow down. Generations are going to come in and take over. Think of how people don't care too much about Atari now, you know? To the point that CEX don't stock Atari stuff. You understand what I'm saying? They have the modern Atari stuff, but they don't stock Atari 5200s and 7800s, stuff like that. The market isn't there. Now eventually the market won't be there for the 8-bit systems, the NES. It'll happen. The NES at one stage, in my opinion, is going to be thought of along the lines of the Atari. We're not there yet. The games are of a much higher quality and a lot more advanced, that they've got a lot more life in them than the Atari stuff did. But it's going to happen at some point. It will happen with the Master System, and then the Super Nintendo, then the Mega Drive. And then what? It will just keep going and going and going, and then they'll be selling disc-based stuff. Until they can't sell disc-based stuff as old stock anymore. And what does CEX do then? Me personally, I think that's when they turn into a total tech outright shop. Mobile phones, watches, all that stuff. What they do now. Probably they make their most money from that stuff as it is anyway. And that probably is the future of the business of the franchise as it is. Pros and cons. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below what you think of CEX. You know, are they as bad as people make out to be? Personally, I don't think so. But everyone has to talk and they gauge their thoughts from their own personal experiences. I've had bad experiences with CEX, but probably not to the point where I've written the franchise off and I'm saying I'm never going there again. Some people have had such bad experiences, and I'm not going to blame them for saying they're never going to set foot through another CEX's doors or order again from them, because, you know, some of the stuff they do at times is outright ludicrous. But I think we would be a lot worse off without it. Collecting is symbolic with CEX in this country, in my opinion. Whether or not people want to admit that, I think that's a fact. If you want to go for full sets of stuff, I think you've got to get involved. I think you've got to dig into CEX at some stage of your journey. If you've managed to collect full sets without picking anything up from a CEX, bravo, you've done well. Maybe you had that full set before CEX was a thing. But yeah, my opinion, CEX, use it. Don't let them use you. If you're not happy with what they're offering you or what they're, you know, selling you, walk away, go to another branch. But at the same time, if they've got stuff that you shouldn't want to miss out on, take advantage of it, because the prices are normally cheaper and they do give you stupid warranties that, in my opinion, still need to be tested out. This whole new 5-year warranty thing, I'm not convinced. I want to see some stories about someone that's managed to get that 5-year warranty and keep it over something that's quite serious. I don't know how they can give 5-year warranties on, let's say, for example, a Sega Game Gear. Something that potentially could break on the way home, you know? If it's not capped, the Game Gear could potentially just break sitting in the box. The way the Game Gears were made. But yeah, for me, my opinion on the whole thing, and it's a big thing, it goes in cycles. People talk about this up and down on YouTube. CEX this, CEX that. Is it good? Is it bad? Do both. Yeah, look after you as a consumer. If you're collecting and you want the best for your collection, take advantage of what's out there. Take advantage of your independent shops. Get out there, support them, but at the same time, make sure they're giving you prices you're happy with to add to your collection. But at the same time, if you've got a CEX 5 minutes down the road and they're selling the same game for £15 cheaper, you know what? Maybe even go and have a word with your independent shop and say, look, you know what? I'd love to buy this from you, but I can't. They're selling it for £15 cheaper. I've done this. I've gone to one of my local retro shops and I've said to him, listen mate, I'd like to buy that game, but it's too expensive. And it doesn't always work, because they might have paid so much money and they need to get their money back. Fine, I get that, prices fluctuate. But on this particular occasion, it was a Sonic game, I can't remember what one. He matched it, he said that's fine. He goes, let's do the deal. And I was more than happy to match that price and give him the money so that I could support his business. But yeah, if he'd said no, I was literally going to walk out and buy the game for £15 cheaper from CEX. Yes, I've taken money out of my independent shop, and that's never a good thing. Like we've touched on a few occasions here, you want to support your brick and mortar shops, but it's very important to support yourself as a consumer first and foremost. Anyway guys, thanks for watching as always. It's much appreciated. If you do like the channel, it'd be much appreciated if you could hit that subscribe button down below. Give us a like, give us a share, leave your comments. I'd love to discuss the whole topic of CEX with you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care for now.